come from and our direction for the future of where we're going, so that you understand, and we hope we're able to communicate to you that we are in education for the long haul. We've been around for 28 years, and I dare say we'll probably be around for at least another 28 years. I'm one of those very privileged parents where all my children, amazingly, by coincidence, went out and worked in the workforce and discovered it's better to work for dad. So they all work for me, and my role is sort of diminishing more the way I used to be very actively involved on sites, where I believe, not just with my children, but with my staff, and you'll talk to the staff today, that you'll find that my staff are probably a lot more technical savvy and a lot more with it and a lot more creative than I probably ever dreamed of being. So the product and the services you'll see today are basically a tribute to the staff at Functional Solutions and what we have. Now, just to give you a background on how we started, I knew nothing about libraries, didn't want to know anything about libraries, had no interest to have anything to do with libraries. We used to be in manufacturing software. That's what we did. We did it very well. We competed with IBM, and every time we came up against IBM, we always won, because what we did was good, and I thought it was world class, but we were very small. And then, as you know, the manufacturing industry in Australia, just like in South Australia, we just disappeared. And our government, unfortunately, we have no vested interest in growing a manufacturing base, and we're pushing all this stuff offshore. So as the industry went offshore, our work diminished. And then my kids were going to a piddly little school that had about 300 kids or something from prep to year 12. And we got to know the teachers, we got to know the principal, he got to know who we are. And he said to us, we're looking at a library system, you're in IT, can you come and consult for us? And I said, well, I know nothing about libraries, I'm in IT, and that's about the only thing you got right. And really, in our industry, we always say, if you can't do it and you haven't got the wherewithal, then just go as a consultant. And no one else will know anyway. And unfortunately, that's the reality of the IT sector. And we said to him, look, I know nothing about libraries. And he said, no, you don't need to know. Our librarians are very, very savvy. We just need you to give us an opinion about the system. So I said, okay. So we sat in on a presentation that went for about an hour, and it was on a DOS-based system, and in those days it was Windows 3. And I'm looking at this DOS-based system, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is like 20 years old. And at the end of it, she said, look, it's $35,000 to buy the license for it, and the support was $10,000, and this was June, and she said, and if you bought this as soon as you could, then you'll get at least 6 months of support, because in December we're dumping it. And I remember saying to the principal, don't buy it. Why would you do that? And so we spoke to the company later, and they said, oh, we're dumping it because our head office in the US, and this was GE Finance, they decided that the education sector was a waste of time, and they were just pulling out. And they had about 100 customers. And so I said, so what are you going to do with all these other schools that have given you $35,000? You're just going to leave them in the lurch. They said, oh, we'll find someone to support them. And I said, oh, I'll be interested. And they said, what system have you got? I said, I haven't, but I've seen yours. It's DOS-based, and I reckon we can do a Windows-based multi-user system. Yours is single user, and we'll give it to them for free. And they said, oh, when you have a Windows-based system, then come and see us. So that night, we talked to our 2 developers, and the 3 of us got together. We developed a Windows-based system, and the product that was DOS-based was Ocelot. I don't know if any of you remember that. And we created a Windows-based system, and we called it FILMS, which I think now is ironical that we're in TV for Education as well. But FILMS was the acronym for Functional Integrated Library Management System. And so that's how we started in library. And when we went to demonstrate it to them, they were just blown away, this GE cattle. And they said, so put us a business plan and come back to us. And so I went and spoke to the bank, and the bank did the evaluation, and they believed that the business was worth $100,000. And they said, Michael, we trust you, and we'll finance the $100,000 without any security. Now, this was going back 28 years, so that was quite a big thing for the banks to do then. Everything was done on a personal level. And so we thought it was fantastic, and I went to do a presentation to GE Finance the next day, and I remember the night before, my wife said to me, so what are you going to do? How much are you going to ask? What are you going to pay them? And I said, the bank has offered 100,000, so I think 100,000 is what we can offer. I said, so I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to have a prayer about it tonight, and I'll seek some wisdom from above. And that night I had a dream, and I had this dream that I was having a chat to God, and He said to me, look, just trust me, walk by faith, and you go and you ask them for 100,000, and I'll settle the deal. So we decided, yep, all right, that's what we're going to do. And I turned up at the boardroom. There was a big boardroom bigger than this, and there's about 10 people there, and I did my presentation with my software, with my Windows software, and they were just blown away because no one had a Windows-based system. It was Oasis for SoftLink, and there was a few other. There were 26 competitors at the time in the marketplace. I did my presentation, and they said, amazing, we can't believe you did this in 2 weeks. So what do you think the product, our market share is worth? And I said 100,000, and they said, yep, all right, we agree, 100,000. So when you draw up the contracts and the check, then let us know. I said, no, you give us 100,000, we'll give our software to all your customers as a free upgrade to Windows, and that will be the start of the business. And they just said, thanks for wasting our time, there's the door, you can leave straight away. And they kicked me out. And in those days, Telstra had just brought out a mobile phone. It was unheard of. It was this big, for the size of a briefcase, had a lead acid battery on it, had an antenna you pulled up, and I had the very first one in Australia. It was sitting on my car seat in the front. It even made a hole in the seat, that's how heavy this thing was. And I barely drove into the driveway of our office, and I got a phone call from GE, and they said, we are doing something we've never done before, but you have to be back here today before close of business, and we'll give you a check for 100,000, and we'll start the deal. And I remember thinking then, freely you receive, you freely give. And so from that day, 28 years ago, we have never sold our software, we have never sold a license, and we've given our software away for free, and that continues today, and you only pay support. And we charge about $3,900 for support then. And now, if you're a primary school, what you're going to see today, everything, including hosting of a library system in the cloud, the software, TV for education content, everything. If you're a primary school, $1,750 flat. That's all you pay per year plus GST. If you're a secondary school, less than 500 students, it's $1,750 flat. But if you're a secondary school of P to 12, more than 500 students, it's a flat $2,750. And that's our price. It's been like that for the last, I don't know how many years, and we don't see that price going up. So we are very privileged to be working in the education sector, and we are absolutely dedicated to education. That's all we do. We do not sell manufacturing software. We don't sell our hosting services to other companies. So if you're an education institution, we will host for you. We don't buy hosting from Amazon and subcontract it, okay? Our data farm is Functional Solutions Data Farm. It's on our premises, managed by us, by all our staff. We don't buy anything from anywhere else. We don't employ subcontractors. So everything we do it ourselves. So your data is 100% secure. It's only touched by our staff. And so we think that's quite a big achievement. We've had a lot of ups and downs. We've had, in South Australia, we had a principal in a school about 10 years ago, sent, when faxes were the thing in schools, he sent a fax stream to all South Australian schools. Principal says, don't touch Functional Solutions with a 10-foot barge pole. They won't be around in 12 months' time. And that's went around to every school. We had 26 competitors then. I'm proud to say we're still here, and we now have 3 competitors in the marketplace. So I think we've done very well, and I'm hoping that at the end of this session today, when we finish, that when you look at what we do, you will think that we are world class, and no one else can come close in functionality or modularization of the products and service. With us, you pay your annual subscription, you get everything, and you choose how much you want to work and engage with us. If you get all your teachers on board, we believe your school will be a different school when it comes to working in the digital space. If you want training, it's all free, whenever, how often you want it, and whatever time you want it, and to whatever group of teachers you want it. All you need to do is ask. If you have a feature or function that you want that we don't do, you just put it to us, and chances are in the next few upgrades that you will then get that function or feature. Okay, all our upgrades, we never issue an upgrade and say, oh, this is a new product, or this is an upgrade, therefore you have to pay more. Okay, all our upgrades are free. We do anywhere between 6 to 10 upgrades a year. If you're in the cloud, it just happens automatically overnight, and you can select to be into automatic upgrades or out. I'll have a look, and then I'll wait and see, and then I'll select the upgrades whether I take it or not. So we think we've really done an absolute incredible job. And now I'm going to hand over to Quentin, who's going to introduce the product as a whole and go through some very specific areas, and then we'll divide into 3 different sessions, and we'll go into more specific areas of different modules. But it is open forum, and you can ask any question anytime, and we're more than happy to take it. Thank you very much. Quentin.
How's everyone doing this morning?
Good, very good.
That's good. I think this must be one of the best venues that we've held this particular conference in thus far. I can't believe the views that you guys have here. With SmartSuite, or with the presentation today, we're going to go through a little bit of an introduction with me here and just give you an idea of where we've come from. I'm assuming a few of you have used the eLibrary or vLibrary or TV for Education platforms before. So we're just going to give you a little bit of an understanding on what we've been doing over the last 4 to 5 years, some rationale behind what we've done, and then after that we're going to break up into a few network groups. So there's going to be one here, one next door, and then one where you're having your breakfast this morning. And then after that we're going to go through a Q&A with you. So if you do have any questions throughout the sessions, feel free to either write them down and ask them at the Q&A at the very end with everyone, or you can ask the presenters, and then the presenters will sort of decide whether they'd like to answer it directly, or it might be something they think everyone would like to hear about, and they might just push that back to the Q&A session. Okay. So, just to get started, as Michael said, my name is Quentin, and I have been the SmartSuite project manager for FSI. When we first sat down as a team to discuss what are we going to do next generation, we sort of came up with 5 major points that we wanted to achieve for the next gen FSI product. They were create a modern and attractive platform, create a learning hub which engages the students, make content more accessible and engaging, create a safe learning environment for students, and ensure that the platform is 21st century ready. Now, we're going to be touching on 3 of those points in the network groups. The security will be one of them that we're going to talk to you about in a little bit more detail, and that's with our infrastructure manager, Rob. Mary Jane is going to be talking to you about the content side of it, making it more accessible, as well as Ishan, who's going to be talking to you about different content that you can access, not through TV for Education that we provide, but other content that now integrates directly in with SmartSuite. But to start off, we're going to have a look quickly at the modern and attractive platform and making sure that it engages your students. So just out of a quick guess, at the moment in technology today, what would you think is the most popular device that's available? What are we thinking, like personal devices that we have now? Phones. And what sort of platform do you reckon would be the best? Apple, Android, Microsoft? Apple? Sorry?
Most used, not necessarily.
Most used? We, when we sat down, we went right down to the bare bones of R&D before we started actually writing code. And we said, okay, instead of building a new platform that's not native to students and not native to teachers, let's have a look at what is the most used platform that's out there, and then adapt library on top of it. Adapt content, adapt lessons, adapt searching on top of that. So we did a lot of research and we were floored. We came up with a number of articles from international statistics companies that showed that Android was the most sold platform. And I think one of the ones that really came out in my mind was in 2015, 1.3 billion Android devices were sold compared to 256 million Apple devices. Now, whether that's a cost thing or whether that's a OS platform thing, it still shows that one of the most used or purchased platforms out there was Android. So when we sat down, we said, okay, we like the fact that Apple is easy and it's simple. You can give it to almost anyone, and within a couple of hours they can pick it up. But we also looked at the Android platform and said, okay, what are the key points that people like? Now, personally, I am Mac. I've got iPad, and I used to have iPhones and iPods. And then Michael said that when I do my presentations, it looks a bit silly that I've got everything Apple. And people may say, it doesn't work on anything else. So he forced me to go and get an Android phone. And since then, I've never gone back. I like the ability to customize that platform for me. I like the ability to have different screens, widgets, apps. I can make them smaller, I can make them bigger. And for me, I'd never go back to an Apple device except for a laptop, just because I like it. Okay. So we had a look at that and we said, okay, so how are we going to adapt that into our platforms? Now, with our platform and with the market, a lot of the competitors out there say, all right, we're going to give you a home page, which is customizable. And by customizable, you'll just be able to put some text here and some links and some pictures. Okay, and then at the top, you'll put a banner, or you might choose a custom color from a palette of 10 colors. With our application, you can modify almost every single part of that screen. From enabling and disabling the search box, so you can have an actual landing page with just information. You can have completely different backgrounds on it. So if I go back to another homepage, exactly the same platform, looks a little bit different. You even have the ability to change the CSS style sheets, which are going to allow you to do things like change the font, the size, the colors, the color scheme. So instead of the buttons being that color scheme at the top, it'll be a completely different color scheme. And you can do that on every single page. So it gives you the ability to custom your home page, but we said, okay, let's go the next step further. Let's give them that functionality on every single page that's within the system. Now, this is not the search page out of the box. We give you a different background, and we purposefully have made it so that it's a little bit busy, so that it forces you guys to engage and jump in and change the backgrounds, because it is very easy to do so. So the background in the traditional or out of the box system is a picture of a library. Okay, so you can go in, you can say, all right, I'm going to make it a little bit more standardized by just putting a plain background, or take a photo of your library and upload your personal library as the background to your library management system. Okay, if you're using us just for content, take a photograph of the front of your school and upload that at the back. And you've got the ability to do whatever you want. Now, in the traditional sense, okay, as I mentioned widgets before, everything is click and draggable. So your users have the ability to custom their screen based on their requirements for their session, but you as administrators have the ability to set it up so that this is the information I want my users to see on their first load. When you interact with anything, it'll send the information to all those other widgets. So again, thinking back to your mobile phones, if you want to track your fitness, you'd go to the App Store or the Play Store and you'd download the fitness app. If you wanted to watch Netflix, you would install the app. If you wanted to access Google Keep Notes, you'd go to the Play Store and you install the widget so that you can access the content straight away without having to launch it. It's the same rationale with us. We have a widget shop. So as we're launching more and more features and functions into the platform, you go to the widget shop and you install it. If you're looking at the platform and you go, I don't think that my school is really going to take on reviews very well, because there's just too many students that have too many colourful words. Okay. you can uninstall it so that it's not accessible. Okay? Bearing in mind that our platform has over 1,000 forbidden phrases that will be checked every time one of your users interacts with the system. Okay, and it will flag whatever they've done to the administrators so you can quarantine. Okay, if you want to interact with Amazon reviews, every time someone clicks on a book, it'll check Amazon for that review. Okay, now if it's not available, it'll just say no review available. If it comes up and you're starting to see that Amazon's not moderated, so for your school environment, it may just not be appropriate, again, you uninstall it. Okay. Now you might think, that looks good, but too much functionality. I just need to keep it really simple. So by all means, you go into the settings and you can create a page like this. Very simple. We don't have widgets that are on the right hand side when you click it activates. We've also changed it from the thumbnail view to a detailed view. So instead of only seeing the title, we now have the ability to see different tokens which are also customizable. When your users now interact, it'll open up a new tab and that information will be displayed full screen. They can still interact with the Google previews, okay, which is all integrated. There's no additional fees or costs or services that you have to be worried about. So your students straight away, as soon as you catalogue, if the Google preview is available, SmartSuite will interact with it. If we wanted to have a look at that Amazon review, it's available quick launch. If the students are at home and they want to check the reservation for it, they click reserve, takes them off to the reservations widget, where it will give them not only their place in the queue, but the estimated pickup date based on the loan criteria of everyone in the queue before them. And that's also dynamic, so if someone renews it whilst the person's on the page, it'll update that counter dynamically for them. Okay. If you think, okay, that's cool, I like that layout more than the traditional widgets on the left, search results on the right, that's going to be good for the students. But I want to create a brand new page that is just for my teachers. You also have the ability to create that second page and lock it so that it's only available to teachers when they log in. And on that page, you can have different federated searches. So you can have your database, which will load up on the left-hand side. You can have TV for Education and all of our content load up on the right-hand side. And then you also have this new feature called My Items, which is your users' individual workspaces. So they can bookmark resources to use later on. Okay, so they might be going through here, there might be an English teacher and go, oh good, that book's still available, but I've just seen that TV for Education has that item. So they preview it, and the teacher goes, oh that's great, I want to use that in my English class. Click the start. It will add that to your library so that it's available for everyone else to use. It'll also add it down to your workspace, or to that individual user's workspace. So you can customize the screen as you see fit, and according to the way that you want your clients to engage with your content and your resources. Okay, and once again, everything is just click and drag. So if you have been used to the Android platform before, you want to change the size of a widget, click and drag. You want to change the position of it, click and drag. Okay, very, very easy. So we did a lot of research, and even the way that the widgets move and interact, we spent probably 6 months working on, if we click, it has to drag this particular way, just to make sure that when users interacted with our platform, it was going to be native to them. Okay. We then spent the next 6 months working on ensuring that it's 21st century ready. So we've got this look and feel. Well, what do we mean by 21st century ready? Well, last night or yesterday, everyone probably received an email from myself saying that I've joined you into a classroom activity. And I saw that some of you even logged in and had to play with some of the questions on there. What I'll get everyone to do, it's not a problem if you don't have your device, but if you do have your 3G or 4G enabled device, I'll get you to pull it out. If you've got access to that email, click on the link to launch it again. If you don't, simply navigate in your browser to ssdemo1.functionalsolutions.
And if you've got any issues getting there, put your hand up. One of our staff will come and help you.
So once you're there, top right hand corner of the screen there should be a little green login logo. If you click on that, your username will be the email address that you registered for this event and you would have received the confirmations to. And your password will be pass or lowercase. I don't think. Yep. Okay. Did we get the Wi-Fi details?
I think it's Rich's guest.
Rich's guest.
But you need a security.
Does it?
Yeah.
Did we get the security key? Yeah, no, we didn't get anything from the venue, unfortunately. You'll be able to log in with your email address and then pass. Okay, so if you're having any dramas, if you just put your hand up, some of our technicians will just come around for you.
Just Ridge's guest, and that's Ridge's SP all lowercase. Ridge's guest is the Wi-Fi. Ridge's SP all lowercase.
Okay, so just for the sake of time, we'll push on. As I said, if you can't access it, just raise your hand and our text will come out for you. Okay. So once we have logged in, if you click on the blue button at the top right hand side,
Did you type in the assistant? You have to do the assistant online.
okay, if you click on that blue button with the 3 white stripes, that will open up your system menu. And then in your system menu, there should be an entry there called My Items. And I'll get you all to click on that for me, please. Once you've gone to My Items, you should see a green square called SmartSuite Breakfast Event. I'll get you to click on that. And that should launch the Smart Classroom activity for us. Okay. Now you should see. Okay, you should see a screen like that. So who's at this screen here? Cool. All right. So what we'll get you to do is when you're on this screen, we'll get you to click on Load in Full Page. Okay, and once it refreshes in full page, I'll get you to click on the Start button, please.
My items.
Okay. And we can see that a few of you have logged in. So, what we're going to have a look at now, and as I said, not a big issue if you can't log in. If you want to join in with the session, just keep your hand up and we'll run out to you. Otherwise, you can just follow on with someone that's next to you.
Something books up.
Okay.
The books up here.
What we're going to have a look at quickly is just the sort of devices that we've brought today. So you should see on your screen, oops, something that looks like this section over on the right hand side. Okay, does everyone see that that's been able to log in? Yeah. So what I'll get you to do is I'll get you to go through and just select the type of devices that you have brought today, and the little orange check mark will appear. And then down the bottom, you'll see a Save Answer button. I'll get you to click on that for me, please. Okay. Okay, so we can see that a few of you have gone through and put that in. It looks like Apple is the predominant device today. So everyone that's been able to log in, you've submitted your answers?
I can't because it doesn't go.
Yeah, it just says it's
Oh, down the bottom, sorry, there should be a little link that says Save Answers.
I have to say that.
Okay, so if we select, and then down the bottom, Save Answers. Okay, so if we go and have a look at our responses quickly, so we've just seen that the most purchased device globally is Android. We can see on the results just in this room that most of us today have brought along an Apple device, an iPad or an iPhone. Okay. We can see that Android is the third, and a Microsoft laptop was the second most bought device. And we can see that we've also got a few people, I believe, that have Apple laptops here as well. So just in this room, we can see that we've got quite a variety of devices that have been used. Okay, now, who here is at a school that runs a BYOD program? And when they say BYOD, is it bring any device, or is it you purchase the Apple device that we specify? Bring any device. Now, as far as bring your any device, does this sort of show you, so this is your iPhones and iPads, this is your Android devices, this is your Microsoft laptops, and your Mac laptop. Okay? Is that relatively what you guys see in your schools today? No? What do you guys see?
Well, mostly Windows laptops.
Mostly Windows laptops?
Yeah, we don't allow them to access our network through their phones. Too much.
Too much Facebook, too
Yes,
much
yes.
Spotify. Okay. What about those schools that run tablet schemes? Does anyone have an iPad scheme? Yeah? And what sort of applications do you guys run? Is it mostly just typing Word documents on them, accessing websites, learning portals? Yeah. So when we're looking at SmartSuite, this was one of the other things that we had to take into account. Okay, especially moving to the push in schools for BYOD, and we saw it sort of go from one-to-ones to bring your own device, but we'll specify which 3 devices that you can choose from, to, okay, now you can actually bring anything that you want, even just your mobile phone, because we know that all kids are having it, and no parent's going to say, you can't, I can't afford to purchase that device because your kids already have it. So we had to make sure that our platform was going to work on every single device that was brought in. Okay. So when we do the shaping of our widgets, when we load the pages, we have to make sure that there's not going to be any hindrances that are going to slow down our classrooms. Okay. If we had to get the students to engage with apps and install them and download them first off, then when we provided an update, the students come to school, they haven't updated their phones at home, they're not going to be able to access your lesson, they're not going to be able to access your books, access your reservations or anything like that. So we have to make sure that when we push it out, it's going to be live and dynamic. Okay? Everything that we're using here today is part of SmartSuite. This is called our Smart Classrooms module. So if you wanted to push this out to your teachers and allow them to start creating their lessons and having interactive questions that auto-mark themselves and provides the teachers with dynamic responses on the fly as the students are engaging with their lessons, it's included in that 1750 and that 2750 that Michael spoke about before. And it also incorporates access to engage with websites, which I'll show you in a moment, bibliographic records that the Resource Centre administrators have already catalogued. Okay, and it can be someone else's lesson that they have actually embedded into this lesson. It can be TV for Education content, YouTube content. It can be a video that I have recorded on my mobile phone and uploaded directly to my lesson to my students. Now Rob's going to show you a bit more through that in his session as well. So we've tried to think very globally about SmartSuite. We've tried to make sure that it engages at a attractive UI level. We've tried to make sure that no matter what device you've brought, as long as you've got the details for it, you'll be able to click and log in. Okay. The next thing that we had to have a think about is the different kinds of teaching philosophies are out there. So you've got the library component of the system, which obviously has all those integrations with Google Previews and the federated search, which we're going to get into a bit more detail with at the SmartBar event. But we also had to have a look at, okay, how is libraries now working into the pictures of education? How is content now working into the picture of education? We had a look at the different pedagogies that are going out. We had a look at flipped classrooms. Whose schools are doing flipped classrooms at the moment? Yeah, sort of something that peaked and then sort of died off a little bit. The big thing at the moment is blended learning. Okay, so if everyone that has access to the lesson, if you click next slide, you'll see this question. And what I'll get you to do is I'll get you just to go through and say, okay, what is blended learning? It is, and you can select a few of these if you, few of these? Oh, this one might be one answer only. But is it students of both genders in one class? Students of multiple year levels in one class? Combination of digital, online and traditional classroom methods? Food processing and home economics? Teaching one topic with multiple concepts, or all of the above? Right, so I'll get you to choose one and hit that save answer at the bottom. Cool. So we can see some of those responses coming through. And the most popular answer was C. So some argue that it's all of the above, and I suppose we could argue the fact even number D could fit in there. But it is correct. C is, it's a combination of digital, online and traditional classroom methods. So I'm not sure who did the study and sort of pushed it out there in the first instance, but they were seeing that too many of the students were getting too used to technology, and we were losing our writing skills and all that sort of stuff. And that's why I think they've come up with this this philosophy. So this is just one of the podcasts from TV for Education. We've used the online video editor to just snap 2 minutes, or even I think it might even be less than that, of this explanation of what blended learning is.
Not familiar with blended learning. Basically what it is it's taking the compelling parts of online, mobile, and classroom learning and then just blending them together in a classroom. So using that technology in a
powerful way. So with SmartSuite, you have now a portal which allows you to customize the type of content that you want to go up, the types of messages that you want to go up, the engagement level. You can put whether you want your students to have that social media feel, be able to follow one another so they can see one another's reviews and the books that they've been reading. You can disable that, and you can go more with a learning management platform, which is going to allow your teachers to interact with the smart classrooms and TV for Education, and also items like, if you're a Google school, you can integrate all of your existing worksheets and plans directly within our system, so that the teachers still have the ability to track who's actually still engaging with the lesson. So at any time, you can go in and see, all right, who is actually looking at the lesson, who's gone off the screen and is now on Facebook or going through, okay? No apps. Everyone here today that's logged in has not installed anything on their phones, iPads, anything. If you were to close that lesson down, 30 seconds, this will refresh, and it's going to show you as an orange card to say they're not engaging at this second. After 2 minutes, it goes red.
I'm taking notes in my notes. Stop pointing to
Generally. Okay. We've also thought outside the box, even when it comes to this component of it. So if your teachers do design their lessons, and you've got a smarty pants that walks in and goes, "Aha, miss, I didn't bring my BYOD device. It wasn't charged." They can go, "Okay, no worries. Print paper. You have to now sit down and answer everything with a pen." Okay. So we've thought about almost anything that we believe you guys will come up to in the library component, in the classroom component, in the TV for Education component.
That previous screen where the users are, can you reduce the size of the user so you can fit everyone up?
Not at this present stage. It is scaling a little bit because of the projector and that. Yeah. You do get to see quite a big portion of your class. I think at any one time it's between 9 and 12 people that you'll see on the screen, depending on your resolution. But if, again, as Michael said, if it's something that you want to be able to see more of those people, all you need to do is just send us the request. And because everything is individual components, we release an update to the widget shop. You get that as soon as it's upgraded, and you'll have the ability to scale it. Okay, so very, very easy. So Smart Classroom, SmartSuite, it's all integrated. You've all now used a portion of it without having to do anything yourselves, as in installing an app or anything like that. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to quickly throw it out there. Does anyone have any questions at this stage about anything that you've seen or anything that you want to talk to us about with regards to our R&D process?
So you work with the school to give them the functionality that they need?
So we have a platform, so just like your mobile phone, okay? You open up your mobile phone and it comes pre-installed with the basic apps for you to utilize that device. Same with this system, okay? We give you the TV for Education content, we give you the workspace, the search areas, all of that stuff. If you then want to go the extra step and you want to install smart classrooms, okay, you go to the widget shop, you hit install, it installs it, everyone can now use it. If you want to uninstall features, we will assist you through that process. Our self-help startup guide goes through step 1, how to import. And all of our tech notes are all accessible within the framework now. They have your step-by-step instructions with print screens and everything. They now also have tutorials for anything that we believe is over 5 steps, something like that. So if it's a difficult task, if it's something that's more than 5 steps, there's also a video tutorial that goes along with it. So first one is how do I import my patrons, just to get your data up to date. Then we've got how do I customize my system, and that goes through shrinking, enlarging widgets, installing them, uninstalling them. How do I circulate, how do I catalog? From there, we've got the YouTube channel, we've got a series on different portions of the application. And then we've also got the support forum now, so you can post questions to everyone else that's using SmartSuite and say, look, you know, I'm coming up with this, how do you guys get over this hurdle? Or promote yourselves, you know, I did this really cool thing, I've added book trailers into all of my records so that kids don't have to go to another record, it's all integrated with inside the bibliographic record. So you can do all that sort of stuff within SmartSuite. Okay? And then we've also got our support team, our customer service team, that will get on the phone with you, help you out, because we can see your interface. We can say, okay, I can see what you've done here, let me just try this. What do you think of that? And you just refresh your page and you go, oh, I really like that. And we've done it on a number of occasions. Okay, and because of the platform and the variations, we are going to be running a lot more events like this, where we're going to get you guys together, networking with one another, breaking off into these smart bars and learning different portions of the system more often than not. Any other questions? Yes.
So can I ask, with bibliographic records,
Yes.
can I control what is seen in the bibliographic record? Because I noticed in the last one, it tells me wonderful details of the book, it just doesn't tell the kid where to find it in the library.
Yes.
So can I insert and say, you know?
Definitely. So everything within the platform is customizable. Now what I might do, just for the sake of time, hold on to that question for the Q&A at the very end, and we'll go into a bit more detail about tokens within the system. And basically tokens are, they have the ability for you to turn them on and off. So if you're a school that doesn't use any digital content in your library, you can turn off all the digital tokens so that they never appear. Okay, so you don't have blank spaces in your collection. You can also say, well, the URL at the bottom, the preview at the bottom of that bibliographic record really needs to be at the top. So I want to reorder the token so that the preview is always at the very top. Okay, so if you bring that up with the Q&A, we can go back through that. Yes?
Have you developed any LTI functionality to integrate with other learning management systems?
The way that we've gone at the moment is everything that we do is HTML5 and web-based or with unique strings. So at the present stage, that lesson here has its own unique URL. So your teachers will be able to take that URL or the QR code that's generated by our system and embed that into the learning management system in an email address. People can fire it off from there. The next stage of our SmartSuite development is to get in touch with the learning management systems and integrate further with them. I think that before we go down that path, we're going to be doing integration with admin systems, which means that we'll have live data updates. So if you have a new enrollment at your school, it's directly added to our system.
Very good point. So they don't integrate with SISs at the moment?
We do a CSV import, and we do have the ability to do automatic CSV imports. So we can put a watch on a folder on your network, and it will automatically upload and append to our database. The big thing has been security with the two different companies. So we've talked to the major administration systems at the moment, and we've signed documentation to say this is how we transfer data, this is how you transfer data, yes, it's okay. We've now got the APIs, we're now working to integrate so that as soon as any of that data is changed, it's automatically reflected here. So we do all the SSO at the moment with SAML and Google OAuth, so that if they are deactivated on your network, they can't access the system anymore, but you still have to authenticate the patrons individually, either through the patron detail screen and just entering them manually, or just doing a CSV update, which takes all of about 15 seconds. Yes?
So currently EduNate produces the CSV files for me on a fortnightly basis.
Yep.
So you're saying that I can
we do have private schools that do it. If you're behind a cath-ed proxy or an education proxy, then maybe have we done it with any? We have, so we can do it.
So for example, finance would combine lost books and debt recovery stuff. Would that talk to the debt system?
When we go down the projects of integrating with learning management systems, we will be able to integrate that sort of stuff in. So at the moment we've got a new report system which we'll touch on in the Q&A, and that gives the ability to design different reports and have them set up so they can be emailed to the finance department. When we go down, and you can even set up a unique account just for the finance people so they can go in and access that report themselves at any time. Okay, so if you want, bring that back up at the Q&A and we'll go into a bit more detail about that.
I can say further to that though is while you have the ability to do that, have you actually done any work with that to see if they will allow you to access finance?
Not finance. Not
That's the
finance.
question was,
The
because
question was about finance.
we've got
Will be able to do that.
distinct systems.
Yeah.
You know, functional solutions for the library management system.
Yep.
Finance system, and the two can't talk to each other, so it's very hard to keep a record of who's paid, who's returned.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I'm thinking when you said loss, I was thinking about like stock take loss reports. Apologies. Can you bring that up at the Q&A and we'll go into a bit more detail about that. Okay. Any other questions? Awesome. All right. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to have a quick break, 5 minutes just to get us, allow us some time to set up the network groups. On your cards, Jay, on your cards there should be 3 different colours.
Blue, stay in here, or come back in here when you have a bit of a break. Pink, go into the room next door. And green, just into the centre, up there with your sharp.
Okay, so we're
They're just on a 20 tag.
General Security. So I'm Rob Van Dyken. I'm the Systems Manager at Functional Solutions. On a day-to-day basis, pretty much my job is to make sure your cloud's up and running, maintain, design and implement any hardware, network-related things that we need to do. All troubleshooting has to go through me first, and then I'll delegate jobs, do it myself, that sort of stuff. So on a day-to-day basis, pretty much all I'm doing every day is checking logs, troubleshooting, make sure everything's up and running so everyone's got as smooth as possible service through the cloud. We pretty much are working towards a 24/7 runtime in our cloud. We have had a few little issues here and there, but in today's basis, we're in the cloud. Stuff happens with technology where your lines get cut by diggers and stuff like that, but that's just life in today's world. So pretty much what I'm going to go through is how we run our cloud, why I personally think that everyone in today's age should go into the cloud and the reasons behind it. So today, pretty much what you need to know about the security, how we handle user security. Big thing in South Australia is how cloud vendors host student data. So I'm going to go through that because it is a very touchy topic with a lot of sites. So I'm going to go tell you how we handle it and what we do with your data and stuff like that. I'm also going to go through how we host your files, like your student data, any files you upload to us, how you handle that. I'm going to tell you a bit how we do it on the back end and that sort of stuff, just so you can see we're not transferring your files here and there. Just going to go through that sort of stuff. And a bit of a pros and cons versus cloud versus your local current setups and stuff like that if you're still running locally. So the first thing I'm going to go through is patron and user security. So the biggest thing that people talk about these days is the vulnerability of your information being hosted in the internet. But really, when you think about it, doesn't matter what you're with, who you're with, your data is in the internet. So who here's got a bank account? Yep, everyone has to have a bank account or you don't get paid. As soon as you sign up for a bank, probably you don't read the full terms and conditions, but as soon as you put in John Smith, your date of birth, his name, it's shot. If you're with Commonwealth, ANZ, straight up to Amazon Cloud. So your data's straight away in the internet. A lot of people don't think of it like that, but when you're looking at student data and stuff like that, all their data, doesn't matter what they do, is stored in the internet. Reason I say this is more of the case when people talk about having their student data and they don't know where the data sits. So if you put your name into Amazon's cloud or whatnot, you'll probably be able to pull up a profile of one of these people. So when we host your data, we don't put your data in any third-party environments. So everything we do is hosted in our cloud. We own 100% Functional Solutions own both our data centers. We have 2 data centers currently in Melbourne and looking at one in December in Brisbane. So pretty much how we work is it's a secure link between our 2 data centers. No one but myself and the CEO have got access to this data center. So anything that anyone needs to go in there, any electricians or anything like that, we'll just stand there and watch the whole time. So we know every single time who's got access to your data and that sort of stuff. Pretty much when people sign up to agreements, they don't read terms and conditions. A few of our other vendors and stuff like that are hosting data in third-party environments like Microsoft and Amazon Cloud. When you go with Amazon Cloud, if you don't pay for the full premium subscription, which is excessive money, your data can be hosted Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, Malaysia, Brisbane, anywhere, all over the world. They'll just put your data, they'll ship it across through a nice link. But as soon as that data is outside of Australian territory, education departments, first of all, it's a fine from the education department. You'll probably be in very big trouble. I'm not sure about up here, but I know Victoria. As soon as it goes off-site out of Australia, it's super hefty fines for the school. So one thing to check, any vendor you're going to, just double check, read the terms and conditions of where the data is going to be stored. If it is off-site, you have to talk to them straight away and say, no, we want the best subscription, keep it in Australian territory, and make sure it's only accessible by our site. That's the thing we guarantee with our sites. We'll take anything for it. that we always host your data. We don't let anyone else get into our systems or anything like that. So pretty much that's the one thing I can stress you guys. If you're going to go with any vendors, admin systems, learning management systems, just make sure they're hosted in Australia. Any questions on the user information? Anything you need to know about from the department's end or anything like that? No. So just a little bit on cloud systems. Who here's got Facebook? Majority? Anyone? Yep, Twitter, that sort of stuff. Who here signs up to the agreement in Reddit for Facebook? 90-something pages worth? You hit I agree. Everyone? 90% of people just go, yeah, I agree, no worries. So they've got really stupid stuff in their terms and conditions, like funny comments and all this sort of stuff, because they know people don't read it. But the thing is, when you sign up to something like Facebook, yeah, they're a massive global industry, that sort of stuff. They pretty much own the world now. You're pretty much signing your profile away. So you put in John Smith, first name, surname, last name. They now own your details, and they can ship it off to any company they want. So what they do with your data, you go, all right, I'm at Ridges in Adelaide. They'll get a little profile of yourself and ship it off to all these global analysis companies. So what they do with your data is they'll go, all right, they're here, they've gone to Macca's, they've gone to this, and they'll create a little profile of what you do on a day-to-day basis. And then when you're scrolling through your news feed or Twitter feed or anything like that, you'll see little ads. You go, oh yeah, that looks nice, and you'll click on it. So they've got this little profile of yourself, and they know how to target you. So that's what they're doing with the information. They're kind of making these little profiles, and you come down, and you go, oh yeah, I like that, and you'll click on it. So they know exactly what you need to do, and they know what you want and all that sort of stuff. So there's 1.6 billion people currently on Facebook, whether they're all real or not. It's not overly many for how many people's in the world, but that's a lot of information they store that's in the internet. So on today's generalization, everything's in the internet. I'm going to do a little bit of a thing on how we host. Any questions on patron users, data information, how we... No? Pretty straightforward? You trust us. That's good. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, you didn't read our terms and conditions either, did you? Sorry? You're really interested in losing AA? Exactly, but... Alright, so cloud with files. So who here will send, everyone teaches IT, bit of everything? Alright, when you send something to someone like a lesson, PDF or something, how do you get it to them? Email? Yep. Daymap? Is Daymap encrypted by any chance, did you know? No. So pretty much what we've decided to do, as everything's starting to be transferred across to the internet, you've got places like Google Drive, Dropbox, them sort of things. How they host their data is, you'll put it up in the internet and it will create a virtual directory that no one can find unless you've got the exact login details for this. You will only be able to get your data. So we've decided, yep, we're going to do the same thing. It's the way the internet's going, that's how we're going to do it. So when you're emailing, all right, I'm going to email a contract to Michael, my boss, saying I agree to work at Functional Solutions, but I don't want anyone else in the office to see it. But I've actually emailed it to Michael in sales. Straight away, as soon as I've hit that, it's gone. Out of my hands, everyone's got it. So what we've decided, it's better off if you've got control over how you handle your files. So what you can do is you can, with us, you can upload your file, share a link, and put that in the email, and you've got complete access over who sees it. So you can give Michael's email permission to see it, and then straight away, if you go, oh, whoops, sent it to the wrong email address, you can cancel that link out and it's dead. It's gone off the internet. So I'm going to do you a little bit of a demo of how we do it now with a thing called file upload. How quick it is to get, we're in Adelaide, current servers in Melbourne, how quick it is to get there. I can email it straight to my computer and it's ready to go. So I'm just going to pull up SmartSuite on my phone. It's just 2 seconds. Just going to do a little bit of a video of inside the room, just so you can see it's just not smoke and mirrors, that sort of stuff. Just going to go 4G. So I'm going to use Telstra 4G, which is I'm using. I'm pretty much going to create a video of inside. Once I've done it, you'll pretty much appear straight away. So I'm on my Telstra network, and this is on the Ridges Wi-Fi, and straight away, straight to our servers, then straight back to Adelaide within a couple of seconds, if even. So upload a file. Everyone say hi. Straight away, all I do is hit send, and it's pretty much uploaded into the cloud, ready to go. So as soon as I hit it up on SmartSuite, it will be ready for us to upload to watch. So this is kind of my virtual, so when you put your stuff in My Documents on your computer, that's your little hard drive. On the internet base, this is my little folder here for all my personal stuff. So the video there that I've just uploaded from my phone, straight away, ready to go, secure. The biggest thing you need to look at up here is that link up the top there. So as soon as I upload it on the back end of our servers, it encrypts it. So as you look at that, you go, that means absolutely nothing to me, and I'll never guess that link. So we've decided on a string that's perfect for not too long to send around and that sort of stuff. You'll never guess it, and the files are secure in our end. If you say to me, I've uploaded this video, but I want you to retrieve it for me, I'll say sorry because I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I physically know where it sits, but I don't know what that video is because it's a whole jumble of numbers and stuff like that. So with this, all I can do now, I've uploaded that from my phone. I can right click on that video, share that link, paste that straight into an email. Just say I've put that in an email. I've sent that through to my boss. That's encrypted. If I don't want that accessible anymore, I can kill this video and it's gone. It's wiped off our servers, out of the internet, that sort of stuff. Michael now, he'll click on that link and it will say this link cannot be accessible. It's a dead link. So it's kind of securing your documents, your photos, all that sort of stuff. It's a good way. If I couldn't stress it anymore, I do it every time. If I send an attachment to someone, it'll be a link. I've done it that many times where I've sent the wrong thing to the wrong person. Not that it matters in the end, the stuff I've sent, but I haven't sent my credit card details or anything like that, which you probably shouldn't do on your email anyway. But if you were to do that, you can kill it, it's gone. I've been trying to get it through the office to do. Slowly people are starting to use, we're adapting Google Drive in our office. So I'm not saying use this, yeah, it's a good software, but if you're going to go down the path of using Google Drive, Dropbox, all that sort of stuff, find the ones that are hosted in Australia, like Microsoft 365, and start using their share links more than uploading stuff to emails, because it's not encrypted. It's just plain, you can guess the link, pdf.rah and you can find it. No system override. We are looking sooner or later at making a shared drive. So you can go, I want to share this drive with Michael Fernandez, and he can access the files in there as well. At the moment, the only folder you've got is a lib folder, where all your staff can access that one. It's the shared one. But we're going to start going, I want my SmartBar demo folder to be accessible to everyone in this room so they can see the video I've just posted. So you can share this link here with the class group, and then everyone can access it, and as soon as you want, you kill it, and they'll just get a blank login page. Any questions on that? Is anyone currently doing that for emailing or anything like that? No, all just straight, yeah? OneDrive, yeah, OneDrive is really good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And with 365 too, I know the same as that, you can put a 50-day expiry, and that link's dead after 50 days. That stuff's really good. It's surprising how many schools aren't actually adapting to new encryptions and stuff like that. Another thing, when you're using any website, this is just more of a generalization. See up the top of that corner, you'll see the little green lock with the HTTPS. Never put your credentials, credit card details, even your email address in anything that hasn't got that S at the end or a green lock. It means when you post that data back to our servers, it's going from here to Telstra, Telstra down the pipe. That data is in plain text. So if you put in your credit card details in plain text, if anyone who's got a little bit of a technological mind, they can just go, I want to watch this traffic, and you can get them details in plain text. So one thing, if you're doing online shopping, anything like that, just be sure you're on a HTTPS website, so it's encrypted. The thing is, with a lot of emails people are getting these days, it look like Facebook, but when you log in, you're logging into a totally different site. I know with a lot of teachers, especially in Victoria, they're going through security courses and stuff like that, just so they're trying to keep more personal information secure and stuff like that. So that's just another thing just to watch out for. I know on all our SmartSuite sites now, it's HTTPS only, just completely encrypted.
Well,
yeah.
sorry, I'm a bit of a dummy with this sort of stuff. Given that there's sinister organisations that are doing this sort of stuff, what will stop them putting the false green block symbol on their site so I would be sucked in by it?
How this works, it's on our end, we've got a certificate. So our certificate says it needs to have .functionalsolutions.com.au. That certificate will get passed to you guys, it will get installed in your browser, and when you push that traffic to that, it would decrypt it on our end to make sure that that traffic's secure. So you can't just, you can get a certificate for another website, but it won't be the same. So our system will not work through another URL. It's hard-coded to whatever we assign to your site. So you can't just...
Anybody's question is, can I get traffic from someone watching my website that they have, instead of HTTP, they've actually put HTTPS and emulated functional solutions?
No.
Can that happen?
No. No. It's encrypted and then decrypted, yeah. Yeah. It's pretty much what we have to do every day. We pay an organisation, or once a year I think we pay an organisation, and they publish a certificate to our servers. We have to install that on all our servers, and then that will get pushed out to all our clients. So this industry is pretty much saying, yes, this site is valid kind of thing, and they're easy to.
With other cloud vendors, you'll be surprised you won't have an HTTPS. They just have HTTP.
All right, gonna go back to my slides. Any questions about the file storage, that sort of stuff, how we handle it? Big question I got when I was in Queensland is how much storage do we get? So with us, from a standard install, you get 400 meg per person. Anything after that, you can buy as an institute. I don't know figures, but we sell it as a terabyte basis, which is kind of a standard. Everyone uses a terabyte these days. It's not much. And then you can just push that out to all your students.
Just on the story, but if you're using TV for education or you're using the library system, all the data that's part of that is unlimited. This is only when you say, I've got my own little photos and magazines and videos that I want to store on your cloud.
Yep.
Okay, so this is outside of our application. But if you're using our applications or our content, unlimited.
So I'm going to go into the cons of cloud first. Because we're a cloud vendor, myself, Michael, Quentin, we're all on call 24/7. Anything happens, any servers go down, we'll get a text message from a monitor saying, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed. The first thing on any cloud service, any computer service is you're going to have technical issues. You might walk into the school in the morning and you can't log into your email. Something's happened to your password. It happens to everyone, and it's always going to happen to everyone, but these cloud institutes like us are working towards having me walk into the office every day and sit there and watching monitors because everything's automated. We're trying to have, if I walk to one data center and chop off the internet, kill the generator, everything goes off, the other one takes over. So that's what our goal is heading towards December, start of next year. We're trying to replicate everything across Australia. So we've got 2 data centers in Melbourne currently replicating. So if one's chopped off, the other one will take over. Brisbane's next, and then we're going to start working our way up the coast. Having us in Brisbane doesn't make it any slower for you guys here. The pipe between here to Melbourne is one of the fastest. So you should get about a 2 millisecond ping or something like that. It should be super quick. I've also noticed a few sites, private sites, going with the same internet provider as us, which we've made an agreement with them is if they go with one of our internet providers, it's no capped traffic and it's 100% upload speed, download speed. So there's no capped traffic whatsoever, which is pretty good that we've done with them. Security. So there is always going to be, when something's hosted outside a network, outside your computer, there's always going to be a little bit of a security issue. Your data in the cloud, as people probably knew when they did census this year, that someone decided it'd be a really fantastic idea to chop the connection off so no one could access it. If everyone saw that, yeah? You got that up here as well? Yeah, so pretty much that stuff can happen when you're in the cloud, but as I said, we're watching it every day to make sure that if someone's trying to do that, we've got something else to take over or loop their traffic through another way. So we're always watching that. We're always improving firewalls, buying new firewalls, security, doing security training with our firewall provider, that sort of stuff, just to make sure everything's up to scratch. Prone to attacks, like I said for the census, yes, it can happen. We've had it happen to us once there where we were able to resolve it in about 5 seconds where they tried to chop us off on the traffic. Vendor lock-in. This thing here is massive. It is starting to become a topic that we're talking about nearly every day at work. A site will call us and say, we want to go with you guys, but we're stuck. We're stuck in this contract with another vendor because we didn't read the contract and we're in it for 5 years now and we've got to just sit it out. So I can't stress it enough. When you're looking at cloud solutions especially, read the contract from top to bottom and make sure you understand what you're actually in for. With us, with anyone. Make sure that you know that if I want your data back, I can call them and say, I want my data, give it to me now. Not I have to pay out a $100,000 contract to get my data back. It's stuff that everyone really, really needs to check on these days. And make sure too that the work you've done with that vendor, you can actually get it out. With us, if you want to go, we're happy for you to go. Or we're not happy for you to go, but we'll let you go like that. We'll give you the database on a USB. We'll copy all the hard multimedia that you guys have downloaded from day one to the last day and give it to you. So just be sure that if you're with a vendor, be sure that you can get every little bit of work that you've done out and back to you so it's your property. That's what our rule is at Functional Solutions. If they've done it themselves, it's their property. So multimedia you've downloaded, it's yours. Doesn't matter how much. If it's 10,000, we'll give you 10,000. It's your content now.
Just on the issue of that, we are the only company in the multimedia space where if you decide to no longer use us as your multimedia supplier, we will actually give you every file that you've ever used, even though it's ours. We'll actually give you a copy of it. We are the only company that does it. None of the other vendors do it. And if you read their contract, they're very explicit about not only not giving it to you, but suing you if it comes to their knowledge that you've got one of their files. So if you read the fine print, you'll be shocked with what you'll get threatened with. We classify that as ransomware, but we literally give you everything.
Last one I've got here, one of the last ones, is the limited control. It's not bad for people using the user interface. It's more of a thing for technicians. Back in the day, technicians could write their own stuff off the database and stuff like that. So when you go into the cloud, you lose that control. It's not a bad thing because now we've pretty much said anything you want, if you want it, just tell us and we'll make it for you, kind of thing. Any applications that you want for SmartSuite, put a request through and we'll look at it in development. The main thing with the database is people used to create their own scripts that they could run on the database so they could get their reports out that they didn't have. To fix that, we've created a report writer, which if you really wanted to, you could extract the whole database in a matter of clicking all the fields and hitting export. So that's kind of not an issue anymore, but it can be an issue to some people who had local stuff set up. Pros of cloud. 24/7 access, anywhere, anytime. As you can see here, I'm on a 4G network and I can access my SmartSuite cloud. So you're not locked into an internal schools network. You can just get it from anywhere you want. Enhanced security, we're always, it's the biggest thing we talk about. myself and Michael will work out, make sure everything is up to scratch with security, all our certificates are paid for, that sort of stuff. So it is a lot more secure being in the cloud in the long run, because that's our job. Every day, when you've got your technician looking at it, they've got 50, 60 jobs across the school to complete in a day, where our one job is to make sure your stuff is safe. That's pretty much, that's all we do. Backups or redundancy, as I said, we've got your data in multiple places that's only accessible by us. Restore and backup. It's probably happened to one of you, someone in here, you've deleted something that you weren't meant to delete. I'm going to say our hit rate's about 95% of the time we can get it back if it's within the 7 to 14 day mark. If it's deleted, we keep a backup on-site and off-site premises, which is our other data center. So we'll just say, all right, I've deleted 50 records, can you put them back? We'll just say, yep, no worries, that's pretty much what I've been doing a fair bit lately, and we'll restore them back into the cloud because people have accidentally deleted a full record. Infrastructure, we're always updating our infrastructure. I think every time I come into Michael's office, he bows his head and goes, what do you want now? Because I'm going, all right, Michael, we need another server. We've got X amount more clients. We need another server. We need another firewall. We need another this. And he just looks at me and just goes, all right. So we're always up to date with the infrastructure we get. It lasts about 3 years and we have to replace it. It's just the fact of life. We have to replace infrastructure as it gets old. Some of your library servers, I know off the top of my head, are sitting on servers that are 10 to 15 years old, that are unsupported by Microsoft, that sort of stuff. So it's something to start looking at, getting them servers upgraded, thinking about cloud solutions and that sort of stuff. It's definitely cost efficient too. We charge for primary school $17.50. An average server, an average server that's a bare minimum, will cost you $2.5 grand. So your first year subscription, you've already saved that money. I know an average technician's wage is about $100 an hour. So if they have to spend 4 hours updating that server, you've got another $400 there. And that's every year is going to be 4 hours spent on that server. I could nearly guarantee it. So it's definitely more cost efficient to go to a cloud solution. Pretty much that's all from me today. Any questions on cloud, how we run it, what you want to know, anything about networks? No, no questions? I think Mary Jane will be ready for you. Just shoot across to Mary Jane there. She's going to go through how we maintain it, that sort of stuff. So thanks for that, guys.
before? Perfect. All right, so what I'm going to do is show you the main differences between TV for Education traditionally on the website and the SmartSuite version. There's a lot more features that have been added that you'll be interested in, so I'm just going to take you through all of that. All right, so we're going to have a look. So at TV for Education, we now have over 140,000 programs available. So we've been running the TV for Ed service for like a couple of years, under 10 years now, so we're coming up to 10 years. And we've been adding things from free to air and Foxtel TV. We're the only ones that are offering every Foxtel channel, and that means that you get content from things like the History Channel, from Discovery Science, so you actually get everything from that channel. So you can come to us and say, I want these 5 programs. Doesn't matter what you ask us, we will do everything we can to make sure we get those programs for you. We'll of course strip everything of ads. We've done that from day one, so you won't find ads on any of our programs. And we make sure that the ratings are kept at the start of the program as well. It looks like we've got a couple of seats up the front. No worries. All right. So we also do programs from podcasts and vodcasts as well as YouTube. So YouTube is a relatively new thing that we've been doing, and you might be wondering, like, why is that something that's going to appeal to your school? So that means we've got things like TED Talks. That means NASA podcasts and videos. It also means things like TED Ed lessons. So has anyone seen TED Ed lessons before? Yep. So it's one of those things that we go to a lot of groups like this, and there might be 1 or 2 people in the room that have seen it before. So basically, TED Ed lessons, TED Talks and YouTube, when they go and ask people to do a presentation, to do a lesson or a talk, they say the maximum attention span of people is 15 minutes. People need a break after that. They need to go and look at something else. So if you're doing a video, make sure it's under that time. As the age level decreases, it obviously attention span decreases as well. So that's why we've gone into things like YouTube, because there's so much educational content available, but there's also a lot that is not educational. So it needs someone to go through it and see what is actually going to be appropriate for the classroom. So we have a team of curators that go through YouTube content with the Australian curriculum, matching it to different age groups as well as different subjects. So that's what our curators. And it also means if you have a lesson that you've made content for, you're never going to lose it, because you've actually got a catalogue record you've got in your that is just your online, basically, collection of videos. It's always going to be sitting in there as well. All right, so just as an example for anyone who hasn't seen our podcasts and vodcasts, this is just an example of a video that's available in this section.
If you suck all of the moisture out of your brain and broke it down to its constituent nutritional content, what would it look like? Most of the weight in your dehydrated brain would come from fat, also known as lipids. In the remaining brain matter, you would find proteins and amino acids, traces of micronutrients, and glucose. The brain is, of course, more than just the sum of its nutritional parts, but each component does have a distinct impact on functional, development, mood, and energy. So that's closely.
So for someone who's not particularly interested in science and always struggled with understanding science topics, little clips like this that explain a topic very visually really pay off in the classroom. So that's the kind of stuff that you'll find from our podcast and vodcast collection. Now, in terms of YouTube, do we have any primary school representatives here? That's fine. So just as an example, Mr. DeMayo is a teacher online. He has a big YouTube following, and he picks up pretty much all the popular songs and he redoes them to the times tables. So instead of you trying to convince all the teachers at your school to dress up and make a video clip because you want to teach the 3 times table, you can actually go to our curated YouTube and have a look at videos like this. Okay, so as you can see, I've just made a little clip play from that whole video. So that's now something you can do on all our videos, whether it's from YouTube, whether it's a video or a podcast, or whether it's a free-to-air or Foxtel video. So just for example, we had a video, so it needed to be on sex ed for years 8 and below with no nudity. So a little bit challenging for us. What we did is get programs of embarrassing bodies, and we made clips that didn't contain any nudity. So that's something that you can do now as well. It's really easy to make a clip. I just make it so I haven't too much fun in here. But with this one, as you can see, you've got a clip left and clip right button. And what it's done is selected this much of the video, and all you have to do is click save. Now I can put a note on that for myself saying Year 9 first clip, and that will also save the note for me. So I'll say create chapter, it says here's your first clip listed there. I can go ahead and create different clips, and once I'm ready you just click save and it says this has been edited and is immediately ready to play. So that's literally how long it takes to create a clip. So this is going to... Yep. So once you've done a search, you can add a video through Smart Classroom. So from here, you can search YouTube, curated YouTube, TV for Ed, or a catalogue record. So even if you hadn't gone through and searched and added things to your own collection, you can just come straight to here, click on TV for Ed and say, we want to do health videos. You can run a search and it'll actually run the search here for you. When you click on a video, that'll allow you to preview it. And if you find something that appeals to you, let's not do a sex ed video, and it'll bring it up here. So from here, I can edit the title. So I can say my class won't care what date and time it came from. So I'm going to take that off and click update. I can add a description in there as well if I want. So that's nice and easy to do, and then I can edit the clip. So it looks like that's taking a second or two longer, so we might come back to that. We'll just continue on here. So what we do with all of our systems, looks like my internet may have dropped out. Sorry, I'll just quickly reconnect us. So what we do with all of our systems is base our upgrades on feedback from our teachers, from anyone using our system. So you will always find that our systems, so with all of our systems, we always make sure that what you're saying is taking too much time in the classroom. They're the things that we shorten for you. So one of the things a lot of people said to us is, yes, you've got a lot of great content, but we just want to show a certain clip, so now that's something that's available. Another thing people have asked for is a subject search. So instead of going to our search database and typing in what you want to look for, we're going to be releasing in the next upgrade a subject search. So there will be buttons, secondary, primary, early learning that you'll click on, then you can click on science, then biology, and it'll get more specific as you go along. And because we've got a team that goes through and catalogues the videos and adds those subjects, the data is already there. That's what makes it easy for you to search. But it's just something that might appeal better to the teachers themselves. Thank you, Captain.
Mary Jane, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What you're showing us now, is
Yes.
that with the suite or is that
Yes.
just with the TV for education?
It's both.
Both,
So
you can do that in both.
Yeah, no matter what you get, no matter whether you're just TV for Ed or SmartSuite, we still give you everything. But you might say to us, look, we actually already use a different library system. We just want to see the TV for Ed stuff. So we have a package that pretty much hides everything. It's still there in the background if for one day you want to use it. But we just say, here's the search page, here's your items where you get your personal little collection, and that way it's easier for teachers to navigate.
So we can still make our own clips. And
Absolutely.
we can still
Yes.
do the subject search
Yes.
when that's available.
Yes, absolutely. And of course there's no extra price.
Yes.
We don't do tricky little packages that we then release after you've signed up and spent your budget and say, well, too bad. It's just part of the package. That's the way it is. So because we always are talking to our teachers and saying, what are you using the videos for? We found there's a lot of different techniques teachers are using that not everyone is hearing about. So one of our teachers has said to us that they definitely use little clips in their lessons to boost communication. They're having issues socially at their school. Generally speaking, their students don't like to do speeches, so they were trying to think of ways to use clips to help them communicate better. So these are the kinds of things that you'll now be seeing on our YouTube page and our blog, and they're little tips and tricks that we are giving and lesson activities and classroom activities that you can use to help do different things. And this is just one of them that we're going to go through here. So I might get, Joyce, I might get you to stand up for me and face everyone, so face away from the screen. It's now going to be everyone in the room's goal to explain to Joyce what is happening in this next clip. And you only have the length of the clip to explain it to her, and you all have to do it. So if you have to yell over each other or talk to each other, do what you'd like to do, but you've got to make sure she understands what's happening in this next clip before it's over. So we'll turn the volume off to make it a little more interesting.
So, you know those guys that do dares? You know what they're called? Extreme. Yeah, they do something, they're running up one of those roller coaster thing. Off a roof. On the roof. And then there's someone on the roof who's like parkour. Yeah, a little bit like that. But there's a car involved now. Oh gosh, from the roof to a loop. The risk taker. It looks like he's going to run around this. Oh my God, no, it's not the car.
No, the car is
It's
pulling
him.
him, which
on
is
a
probably in
slippery
his head.
Okay, it looks like a slippery slide.
Jill's boyfriend.
And what to do is slippery
All right, so Joyce, what I'll get you to do is turn back around and I will replay the clip for you, and you can tell us if we accurately describe to you what was happening.
Oh, this is a
This is actually science and stupid.
Thanks for that.
No, it wasn't. Let's go back to the movie lads, see if they can pull off the perfect landing. They haven't made the slide any steeper. Their solution is a pickup truck with the bungee rope to increase velocity. And it works, because if not, it can really not work. That is a maximum 10 from me.
So was that visually what you had in your mind, Joyce?
No, because I didn't know the wheel. I know
It wasn't,
the wheel.
yeah,
I know it was a
I
slidey
could tell
thing.
it was going to be confusing. So while this itself, what he's doing in the video, may not be an approved classroom activity, that is something that our teachers are using, just little clips to try and help their students communicate, and it's something that's working well. So if you go to our TV for Education blog, which is just something that's freely available to anyone, so if you go to tvforeducation.com and click on Teacher Tools up the top, you can subscribe with your email at the bottom of the page, and that's where we'll be posting little tips and tricks like that that's available to you. And again, because we've allowed clipping now, it's a lot easier to do things like that as well.
Is that also somewhere in the SmartSuite?
The blog?
Yeah.
No, so the blog is just part of the website, but you can subscribe on the bottom and that'll send you updates to your email. And if you want to then manage how often you get them, so you might only want a list of them monthly, you can get that as well.
Well, I mean, we've got the upgrade to SmartSuite,
yeah.
So we're trying to make it less confusing for everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep it in the one thing. So
yeah.
then if you're going to get teachers to go back, the
yeah.
explaining of that is...
Yeah, we can definitely put a link in there as well. So what I've done is made this part of my lesson, so you can actually embed it into the page. So you might want to put this on your homepage, and this is the blog itself. So that is something, because the system is customizable, I can actually put the blog on the homepage of the system if I wanted to. And if you don't know how to do that, you can just send an email to support, and they'll be able to do it for you as well.
Yeah. I might just jump in if I may.
Yep.
Just make a note of something called notes. If you would like to raise a Q&A about how to take a blog and put that out on SmartSuite, we'll see how we go for time. Otherwise, if you log a ticket, we'll get someone to call you back on. We can actually embed entire websites inside SmartSuite. That includes our blogs or anyone else's page, even EBSCO search discovery. So if you don't want to use federated search, you can actually put their website onto our website and do it all inside.
So just quickly, I'll show you how easy it is to use the TV for Ed website now. So when you log in, this is what your page will look like. You've got a TV icon up the top, and that's going to take you to the search page. So that'll just load this page here. You've got TV for Ed, curated YouTube, and YouTube listed on different tabs. And that will bring up content. There we go. So this is the view that I've selected. You might prefer to have a listed view, or the person who's looking up the programs might prefer a listed view. So it's going to show them the channel that it's come from, the name, the date and time, and description. And they can just browse through there. So let's say for me that I'm looking up films. So I can just select subject and go, you know, I'm a media teacher, I'm only interested in films. And let's search TV for Ed. So I will just fill that in there. And that's going to bring up all the films. So the latest film was added 2 days ago, and I can just look up and go through them there. So let's say I want to add The Man Who Knew Too Much to my collection. When I click on that, what it's going to do is straight away add that program to my items. So it'll say this has been added, and you'll see it's going to now pop up in my items. So this is your little collection. Yep. And the reason why we've put it on the page together is you might be going through and adding things for your lesson that you want to be able to see things that you're adding as you go. But you might then go, okay, I've had enough of searching, I just want to look at what I've added. So you can click on My Items, and that's going to show you everything that you've added. Now you can make that page longer. I've just made it shorter so that it's easier to see on the screen. You might say, okay, I know I had something in YouTube that I'm trying to find, so you can close all the other tabs and it'll only show you YouTube. Or if you want to see all your free-to-air stuff, you can open that as well. And it'll always be in the one place. So if you, for whatever reason, are sick or away and someone unexpectedly needs to cover your class, you can actually say to them, here's the link to my items, go there. I already prepared these videos or this lesson. So just like I was presenting from this page with the clips, you can put something together for your replacement and they'll be able to access it as well. You can share it with them. All right, so it looks like we've only got a minute left. Was there any questions? Anyone wanted to know anything in particular?
Sorry, you're showing this interface.
Yes.
Is the next version, which is the current?
This is available now. Yes, so this is
So
current.
we have to replace the
An upgrade?
Yeah.
Yes. So we won't force anyone to have an upgrade, but you can literally just email us and we'll apply it to your site. Yeah?
When it comes to the TV for Education videos that have been pre-recorded,
Yes.
is it going to become possible to choose the quality of the streaming?
Yes. So we have almost perfected our HD version, which will be perfect for projectors. So that is something that will probably be released at Christmas. When it is released, we'll be, letting everyone know by email and on your site as well. But it has been in testing for a little while. We were trying to make it as large as possible with the smallest download time. So it's actually, the files aren't that much bigger than they already are, but the quality is very high. Yeah.
We have a lot of trouble with our internet at school.
Yes.
So, this is an issue why a lot of our teachers aren't using
Yep.
the TV education
Yep.
because they can't just log onto it and go
Sure.
straight away.
Yep. So that is something that we will set up for you called local streaming.
Yeah, so we've got that as well,
Yep.
but that takes a day to get in. So a teacher
Yes.
comes and goes, I need this, there's nothing.
Yeah.
That's set up on schedule, so we can increase that. So the
Oh, okay.
caching application,
Yeah.
by default when it's installed, we'll always do it after hours.
Yeah.
Because that's the
The
preferred.
downtime, yeah.
If you would like to increase that, it's a parameter that we can help your technicians alter.
Okay. Might put that in there too.
Yes.
Is that reflected on the bandwidth that your network has? As to why it's not
When the application hits the cache, that's when it starts downloading. Whatever your bandwidth is at that time is what we would download at. So if your bandwidth permits a 60-minute file to be downloaded in 10 minutes, and that's after hours, then we'll do 10 minutes after hours. During school time, if it's shaped, and your technicians may actually put that onto that specific server to shape it so that it only ever receives 2 megasecond, which could blow it up quite a bit, then we're at the mercy of what your bandwidth is and whatever filters your IT content.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're just using locally stored TV for Education.
Yes.
Not really streaming much.
Yep.
Because it's great that kids can play whatever we have in our catalogue.
Yep.
We block YouTube,
Mhm.
so when we try and play YouTube, click through TV through it, that's blocked.
Yes.
I know that there was an idea of maybe going through a concept for YouTube at one stage, but I don't know if that ever went anywhere.
Basically, I think-
allow the TV for Education YouTube.
Yep.
And not the
I think that might be a question for Rob in the Q&A. So bring it up there. He's our network manager, so he's the one that does all the testing for that. Definitely bring it up there and he'll be able to talk to you about it then. All right, so it might be time to grab a drink before you move on to the next group. I'll be in the Q&A if you have any other questions anyway, but thanks for coming.
And we'll be rotating this way.
Sorry. Close the blind.
Everyone ready? Yes. Good afternoon, guys. My name is Ishan, and I'm Customer Service Representative at Functional Solutions today. Today I'll be talking about federated search and how we have integrated into SmartSuite. So before I get started, are you guys enjoying today?
Yeah.
Enjoy the breakfast?
Yes,
Yep.
thank you.
That's good. So what do you guys think federated search is? What it's all about? Any ideas what it might be? Anyone want to take a guess?
It's searching for all the material in one place, so rather than accessing different sources, you can actually do it in one search, and it searches
Correct.
all yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? That's spot on though, so it's
Yeah.
so what do you guys normally use to do your research at school when you're preparing for an assignment or preparing for a lesson? Other than Google, everyone else?
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia?
Yeah, World Book Online. We have.
Anything else? Sorry? World Book, was
World
it?
Book Online.
Yep.
Links Plus.
Links
we
Plus.
use as well.
Yep. Anyone else?
What do we use? Xguide.
EBSCO?
And a range of other databases which we subscribe to. We put them all in one thing.
Yeah, what else did you guys use?
Web links.
Chief Education, that's part of SmartSuite, so you don't have to worry about it. Sorry?
Web links.
Web links, yeah.
Read Plus. Added World Cultures, Read Plus.
You might do Trove or
Trove?
OCLC or something like that.
Master file, come on, master file. Zinio.
Sorry?
Zinio.
How do you spell that?
Z-I-N-I-O.
That's it, I-N-I-O. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yep, first one? This one? Yep. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7 different tabs you got right there. Just imagine when you're trying to go do a prepare for an assignment or a lesson, how when you go to each individual tab, log in if it has to be logged in and search for it. How much time do you guys spend usually? Right? Yeah?
Yeah. You set aside, so.
Well, one of the lucky guys. See, that's what we have done in SmartSuite.
In
But
fact,
it's-
we only subscribe if someone will come in and do it with our single sign-on. If they can't, they've got to find a way to work with our IT engineer to find a way to do that. Because
Yeah.
we don't want the kids to have to do it in one place.
Yeah.
We want them to do it
How easy is it to search in one place? How much time do you guys save?
We
Yeah.
spend a lot of time showing everyone how it works, and teachers forget it down 3 times.
Yeah.
Kids get a bit old fashioned now, we need something a bit faster.
Bit faster? Well, you're in the right place now. So SmartSuite. So what federated search is, for all you don't know, is searching multiple database through one search. So you will put a search through a query bar, and it will go to different databases and bring the results back in one page. So with SmartSuite, what we have done is searching multiple search engines, allowing the user to organize the search page. So you can have wiki links at the top, or Wikipedia at the top, or wherever you want it. So you can organize the page on how you want it and how you want it to look like, and not just for yourself. If a student comes in and says, "Oh, I keep having to scroll down to see Google results, I want it up here," they can just drag it up and the page will reorganize itself and put Google search up there. And then we'll obviously catalog federated search results now. So by just clicking on the folder, we will catalog it into your database and also into your items. So what it does is it will, what it'll do is it'll put through all the keywords, like exactly like how you manually catalog it, but the system does it for you. And then you can always go back and edit that catalog record, add more keyword searches to it if you want. If you think it's a bit hard for students to find, you can put a specific keyword in there and just send it to the student and be like, just search for this and it'll come up. So with SmartSuite, I've created a page. So that's the page that I've created so far. This took me about 5 minutes to set up. So there's 8 databases that I've set up. So these are all in different results containers. So results containers is what the search will be shown in. But we can always have it in a tab container. What it'll do is all the results will appear in one box, but different tabs. Just like how TU for Education has been done now. So no more logging into other TU for, other site to get on TU for Education. It's all integrated into one. So this is what we've done, and then like I said, the tab container as well. So if I just do a search for you guys, so
Ishan,
yep.
just to clarify, once they log into SmartSuite, they don't need to do a separate login for
No.
TV for Education?
No, not at all, not anymore. TU for Education is really integrated into SmartSuite. So
would they continue to use their Smart Library logins?
yeah, same so email and whatever password they had set up before.
Yeah.
And then we also recommend for all librarian admins not to use LIP anymore.
Yeah.
Use your own library email.
Yeah.
Just with the security that we got set up now, you can only be logged in at one place at one time. So the moment you log in elsewhere, that place that you logged in before will be logged out. So just keeping track, more accountability, more security focus as well.
Yep.
Because in the days well that we live in, we have to be more secure what we do. And then we can always keep a track of what's been done. So if you're like catalog record's been deleted, we can always track it back for you and say this is the person that deleted, this is when it was deleted. We can even give you the time. So just more accountability for you guys. So if I just do a search for you guys, World War II history. And who remembers with View Library or Smart Library, you had to click arrows to go into different pages. So with now, what we have done is we got rid of all that. We just made a scrollable results page. So if you just keep scrolling down, and it'll just give you more results. So each container will have that. But like I said, if you have it in a tab container, we just have to click on different tabs for the result for you to see the results. What I've seen so far is some of the schools like to integrate it with the search page itself and just have it in a different widget underneath it with a tab container. But there's also another school that I've done, they want it in their home page in a tab container. So when the students log on, all they see is this, which allows them, make it easier for students to search as well. And then just gives them that bit of extra courage or that excitement saying that, you know, it's all there, you don't have to go anywhere else, less work for you guys, easy for you guys to teach as well. Let's just say that you want it with how you're viewing the catalog record. Just let's say if you want to see this record and see what it looks like, and if it's good for you to use, just click on it. It will open up in a new tab. It will not open it in the same tab. But if you don't like it, say it's not what I'm looking after, just close the tab, and then your search still will be there. So it doesn't refresh. The search does not refresh every time you click on it. Any questions so far?
So is the standard for everyone, this preset, this homepage, is that for everyone?
This isn't for everyone. This is something that you'll have to do from your end, or you can always request us and we'll give you a call.
Yeah, I mean everyone means for school.
Yeah.
For not just for the one person, but for the.
Yeah, so what it does is with the permission that I have set up now, everyone can see it, but before in the other group I had it set up as only the admin can see the page, or you can set it up as only admin and the teachers can see the page.
So that we have to request you guys to do it?
No, so you can do it yourself as well. So to do that, you would just go into page settings on the top, and this is the page settings where you can add the containers, anything. So pretty much just setting up the page yourself. Then you would go into page builder, which is the pen and the paper and the pencil. Then you would select the permission from here. So at the moment, set to login user. But if you can set it to self-certification, teacher, cataloger, librarian, or admin. So you can set to who you want it to see, and it doesn't even appear on the menu if it's not set to the right permission.
Excuse me, I missed that part. Are you saying that when you do a search, you can send it to somebody? Is that what you're saying?
You can send that. So that's the list builder and the external link. So I'll explain that a bit later on. This is just setting up permissions so only staff or only students can see or everyone can see. So
this container that you're setting up with these particular permissions, so it might be whichever one of those, like EBSCO
Yeah.
or one of those
Yeah.
as that container, and you're setting up individual permissions for that container.
no, so this is setting up permission for the whole page.
The whole page. Okay.
That's what I said. It's up to you on where you want to put it.
Okay.
But most of these schools that I've been dealing with, you should put it in the search page because they want everyone to see it as well. But it's up to you on how you want to do it. So it's a customizable system to your needs. You can set it up anywhere. There's no link on it. Any
Can we set up container ourselves? Or
You can use this up shelf. I'll show you how to do it. So you would go into the page settings. Do you guys want to know how to get to this page again, or?
Yes, please.
Yep. To start again. So to get to page settings, you would click on the gears on the top, which will take you to this page, and say that you want to add another results container and add another federated search. Click on the pen and the paper. You need to, first of all, you need to add a results container, which is here, and these are all the available widgets that we got. Yep.
Question, in the past, when we've asked to have the federated searching, it would have to come through you, and you would have to do something, like
Yep.
get the IP address
Yep.
and put it in for us. Are you saying that now we can do that ourselves?
Yep.
Hallelujah.
Exactly. So, but if there's a search engine that might not be available in the system yet, just let us know. We'll contact the provider, or you might have to contact the provider. And if we have to create it, we'll create it, and we'll let you know it's been created. Can you please send us your username, login? We'll give you a call. We'll walk you through how to set it up. If you want, we'll set it up for you.
Yeah.
And then simple as just click and search. That's all you have to do. So just setting up a federated search, just add a results container with the pen to page, which will give you all this information. And then the container type, select fed search. And then you can select what's already been there, like created for you, or you can configure a new one, a total new one, by just adding in the name, URL. Sometimes it might need the username and password, and sometimes the database might need an API key. Yeah, so if you guys know an API key, you'll have to contact the provider. They'll send you this long list of letters and numbers. And if you're not sure how to set it up, contact us. We'll be more than happy to help you guys out. And it's once you get used to it, it's about a 5-minute job for you guys to set it up. And in regards to moving around the containers, say that if you want the Google container search results to appear on the top or like towards the middle, you would just click on the small hand and then just drag it up, and the page will realign itself for you guys, and everything else will just move around. And if I just do a search for, like, let's say everyone likes cats, so I'll just do cats, and the search page will just be like that, like it will stay where it is. So it's customizable for your needs. And one of the future options that we'll be adding is a list builder, where you were talking about before, which is allow you to create a list of items that you have a little search for and you want to send it to everyone. And you can share the list builder with other staff or students as well, where they can add it onto the list. And it also allows you to add a bibliographic record. So what it means, if a student has an assignment and he does a search and he doesn't want to go in and find winnable search, we will do that for you. So all you have to do is just click print, and it'll be printed in a bibliographic record and with the date or so. Just makes it easy for students to search, and then also giving them an option to come back to the system more, because it's a lot more easier, makes their work a lot more easier as well. Any other questions so far? Yeah.
So if we haven't upgraded yet, so
Yeah.
once we upgrade it, until I set up the pages for everyone to use, can we keep the old one for everyone?
No,
I
so
don't know how we, because it's downtime will probably.
Yeah, so what changes with the upgrade is just this homepage and the layout. Like all your catalog and your circulation, patron details will still be the smart library because we're still remaking it. Next week we'll be releasing smart reports, which we'll talk about in a bit. So that will be updated as well, so you have to learn how to use that. But the sooner you upgrade, the lesser that you have to learn. And then eventually when we release catalog, you'll only have to learn catalog because we'll already learn how to use the rest of it. So you can still, even though you get the system upgraded, you don't have to go and say, oh no, I have to edit the system before I use it. You can still use it. You can leave the home page as it is. There's no saying where you have to edit it within 3 days. We don't say that. You can leave it as long as you want. And once you get a chance to start editing it. Until then, you still got circulation, catalog, and everything to use. Yeah.
When you wrote up EBSCO
Yeah.
EBSCO is a subscription that we buy that has different databases. When you write EBSCO, does it pick up all those databases, or do we have to do one in each?
One of each. Yeah.
Each separate one. Okay.
Yeah, because there'll be two different databases anyway. Yeah.
But with that though, it also does mean that it gives you a bit of flexibility to set up a page that's specifically designed to search different areas for different topics.
Yeah.
So like search for, excuse me, science, different search page for English. And when they go, you've got different set up specific post topics.
Yep. Other questions?
So we're running a touch behind time, so to hurry these other guys on, if you'd like to grab a drink and then transition slowly back to the main area for the Q&A.
Thank you for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Any more questions? Just follow up the Q&A section. We'll answer for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, press cards? Sorry. Yeah, you guys ready?